Groudon is the Botsar legendary for Pokemon Ruby, and he certainly shows why. Imposing design, incredible attack, strong moves, and even the sunsetting ability Drought to boost his fire-type moves and reduce his water weakness. But could he beat every single Pokemon in Emerald if they had their best competitive moveset? Let's find out. To start off, this is the Groudon that I'll be using. He currently knows Earthquake, Eruption, Solar Beam, and Ancient Power. I usually start this type of runs with only level up moves to make the beginning more interesting, and this is no exception. All of those attacks come just from his level up learn set. This is going to be a quick start, isn't it? Now, as for how I'm going to be facing off against each Pokemon, I modified Pokemon Emerald to turn it into a gauntlet, where each room I go into represents a tier of competitive battling, going from the strongest Univers, where there's the broken legendaries, like Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza, all the way to the lowest tier that exists right now, which is SU or Sub-Zero used, with Pokemon like Dustots, Nosepass, and Spinda. I also added some lower tiers that I personally made to differentiate Pokemon that are even weaker, and what better way to represent that than the first room, which is composed of the weakest of the weakest: Wurmple, Silcoon, Cascoon, Magikarp, Feebas, Beldum, Wynot, and Wobbuffet. I lost the 50-50 against Wobbuffet the first time I fought against him, getting defeated by a Mirror Coat, but on the next attempt I went for another move and that ended up giving me the win. Things then went pretty smoothly from the 2nd to the 7th room, defeating 109 Pokemon in the way and getting to the 8th room, or the one that represents the never used tier. All of that with only one restart, that being against Lombre. He survived a Max Power Eruption on a sliver of HP, and then went for a Rain Dance, which not only boosted his water-type moves, but also doubled his speed thanks to Swift Swim. He then hits with a Hydro Pump that just OHKOs Groudon. I got a bit worried when I saw that, but on the next attempt, his Hydro Pump wasn't able to defeat me, so I just KO'd him back. It was really lucky that it was a damage roll. Now, it wasn't like it was all smooth sailing besides that fight, as some of the Pokemon got really close to defeating Groudon, like Surskit, who managed to survive an attack, and then like Lombre, set up the Rain, outspeed, and then hit with Hydro Pump. Only this time, the attack did less damage, so I easily KO'd him back. Or how about Gloom, who got a speed boost from the sun thanks to his ability Chlorophyll, and then hit incredibly hard with Hidden Power Grass. A couple of other fights that I wanted to mention before moving on were the Shedinja one, which wasn't an issue at all thanks to having both Eruption and Ancient Power, and Castform, who changed into his Sun form thanks to Groudon's ability, only to then get immediately defeated by an Earthquake. None of the fights were particularly difficult, but one thing that I realized is that if the opponent is a grass type with Chlorophyll and Solar Beam, or a water type that has Swift Swim and can both survive an attack from Groudon and set up the Rain, then I'm in a lot of trouble. Let's hope for the sake of the run that there's not too many of them. In the 8th room out of 13, things went pretty much the same as the previous ones, with two exceptions. One was Blossom. Thanks to Chlorophyll, he outsped Groudon and then used Sleep Powder on him. That's bad in itself, but then he went for Solar Beam to do massive damage. On one attempt, I was able to wake up immediately and hit with Eruption, but at low HP from the Solar Beam, it barely did any damage. I could try for the Sleep Powder miss, but I don't know how many restarts that's going to take. So here's what I'm going to do. Each time Groudon faces a roadblock, I'm going to be giving him an extra tool that would give him a way of getting out. Because the problem was Sleep Powder, I just gave him a Lumberry to heal the status condition, only to then have Sleep Powder miss. I'll still keep the berry, but it would have been nice if that happened earlier. The second roadblock was Huntail, and as you might have guessed, he survived a hit from Solar Beam, set up the Rain, outsped because of Swift Swim, and then OHKO'd Groudon with Hydro Pump. Solar Beam was really close to defeating him, so instead of hoping for a miss, I instead gave Groudon a Miracle Seed to boost the damage of the attack. It still took a few attempts, since it was a range, but eventually Solar Beam got the KO. The next room was the rarely used one, and somehow it was even more uneventful than the rooms that came before. The only two Pokemon that gave me issues, in air quotes, were Ninetales, who landed a super strong Fire Blast but was immediately knocked out by Earthquake, so he barely counts, and Edgeblout, who actually caught me by surprise when I went for Earthquake against him, only for him to go for Counter, which defeated Groudon from full HP. It wasn't that dangerous though, as just switching to Eruption solved the problem and quickly defeated him. Moving on to the 10th room, things finally start getting more difficult for Groudon. The first problem came with Vileplume. He obviously had Chlorophyll to outspeed me, and on the first attempt, he got a crit Solar Beam for the one-shot. Off to a great start. The next attempt, Vileplume went for Hidden Power Fire. For some reason. It did significantly less damage than Solar Beam, but it left Groudon at the right amount of HP that he needed to make Eruption not enough to KO him. Instead, leaving Vileplume on a sliver of HP, meaning that the next turn, a Solar Beam defeated me. I decided to switch to using a Charcoal to boost the damage of Eruption, but now Vileplume was leading once again with Solar Beam, which made Eruption do no damage against him. I really liked using Eruption, but I needed to get the KO against Vileplume, so I had no choice but to replace it for Fire Blast. I went to try again, sure that a Charcoal boosted Fire Blast was going to be enough, only for Vileplume to reveal that it had Sleep Powder. I lost that attempt, but when I kept trying, he kept leading with a random move. So when I got one where Fire Blast didn't miss and he didn't go for Sleep Powder, the move was enough to get a one-shot. What a frustrating fight. It doesn't stop there though, as the next roadblock I faced was Credilli, and he was a nightmare. He would use Recover the moment he took any damage, and my attacks were only doing about half his HP, which was easy to out-heal with both Recover and the leftovers. He was spamming the move so much that he even made me run out of power points on both Earthquake and Eruption, eventually fainting to either Toxic Damage or Earthquake. I tried with the Lumberry, I tried with the Charcoal, and in the end, what got me the win was a random Ancient Power Omnibus when I was testing at which point Credilli started using Recover. It doesn't feel good to win by RNG, but with Credilli being so annoying, I'm actually glad that it happened. In the penultimate room before fighting the Uber Pokémon, it got a bit easier than the last room, but not by much. To start off, there were a couple of close calls. Ludicolo was the first one. His typing made him neutral to all of my moves, so I went for Fire Blast, as it did the most damage to him. The problem came when he used Synthesis, as the move heals for even more damage when the sun is up. We went back and forth for a while, with Ludicolo getting a crit Surf at one point to do massive damage, and when I got him low on HP, I tried to play it safe by going for Ancient Power, but that was the wrong move, as it left him on a sliver and then he used Synthesis to get back to almost full HP. Ludicolo got Groudon low on HP with a Surf after that, but another Fire Blast and a Solar Beam managed to finish him off. I really thought he was going to be like Lombre by setting up the rain and then completely crush me with Hydro Pump. Honestly, I got lucky. For slacking, this one was actually pretty straightforward. He outsped me and we traded Earthquakes, but he was a 3-shot, so with Truant giving me a free turn every other round, it wasn't even close. The other Pokemon was Kingdra, and you know where this is going. He outsped me, set up the rain, managed to survive an Earthquake, and then fired off a Surf that left Groudon with only 1 HP left. I managed to defeat him, but I bet that was a range to KO me. Lastly, there were 2 Pokemon that made me restart. Armaldo, like Ludicolo, was neutral to most of my moves. I went for Fire Blast against him, and I soon realized that I made the wrong play, as the move missed multiple times, and that gave Armaldo the chance to set up 2 Sword Stances. By the time Fire Blast finally got him low on HP, Armaldo was strong enough to easily defeat me. I realized my mistake, so on the next attempt, I went for Earthquake instead, and that ended up working great, getting an easy 2-shot against him. Finally, there was Registeel. Earthquake did massive damage to him. However, he had counter, reflecting back double the damage that I just did to him to KO me. Like Exploud though, the solution was simple. Just go for Fire Blast instead and everything was fine. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe, as I'm going to be doing this for a lot more Pokemon and that really helps me grow. The last stop before the broken legendaries is the overused room, and I got really lucky on this one. To start off, there was Salamence. He was outspeeding and hitting pretty hard with Hidden Power Grass, being a 3-shot against me. That doesn't sound so bad, but when my best move is Ancient Power and Salamence has Intimidate to lower Groudon's attack, then it becomes a bit of an issue. I tried using Dragon Claw for super effective damage since it's special in this game, but with Groudon's special attack being lower than his physical one, it was doing basically the same. I gave Groudon a White Herb to cancel the attack drop, and while Ancient Power was now doing half, Salamence had a leftovers equipped, so it wasn't going to be enough. It didn't matter though, as the next hit got the Omni Boost, so Groudon now had the speed advantage and defeated Salamence with one final hit. I said that I don't love winning by RNG, but to be clear, replacing Ancient Power for Rock Slide would have done it as well. Keep that in mind, it's going to become a theme. The next big threat was Gyarados, and this one wasn't so bad. We both weren't doing that much to each other with our attacks, so on the first attempt, we ended up going at each other for a while. Eventually, Gyarados got low on HP and used Double Edge to take me out, with the recoil making him also faint. On the second attempt though, I got a lucky critical hit Solar Beam to easily defeat him. Like Salamence, I'm pretty sure a White Herb Rock Slide would have been enough. Lastly, there was Regice. Fire Blast was doing about half to him as his Ice Beam was hitting like a truck. I probably would have had the KO, except the leftovers made my next hit leave him at a sliver of HP. I tested Ancient Power to check the damage, and while it was doing about the same, it got another Omni Boost, which made the next hit easily able to defeat him. Once again, another Pokemon that I would have defeated with Rock Slide. But that was the last problematic Pokemon from the overuse room, meaning that there's nothing left between Groudon and the broken legendaries. This is it. The final room. The Lati Twins, the Weather Trio, and the Otzi's Speed. I started against Kyogre, and right away, my son won against his Rain, so his water moves were weakened. Solar Beam did great damage against him as he went for a Coal Mine to increase his special stats. We were a speed side, so the next turn, he was able to hit before me with a Surf to take most of Groudon's HP. I got worried, but then my Earthquake ended up getting a crit for the KO. I'll never know if I would have won without it. Next was the mirror match. Groudon versus Groudon, and the opposing one started with Swords Dance as my Solar Beam once again did a lot of damage. He then went for Earthquake, leaving my Groudon on the red, but my next hit of Solar Beam defeated him. Easy win. The Otzi Speed came after. Yes, I know he looks like the normal version, but it's the speed one, trust me. And while he went for Coal Mine, Earthquake left him on a sliver of HP. I was sure that his Ice Beam was then going to be the end of me, but it only left Groudon in the red as well. So I hit the Otsis again, and he was down. I then fought the last of the Weather Trio, Rayquaza. His Earthquake wasn't doing that much to me, but neither was my Ancient Power. We were both getting one hit away from fainting, but then wouldn't you know it, Ancient Power got an Omni Boost. So the next turn, Groudon outsped and defeated him. You already know what I'm going to say, so let's move on. The last two opponents were the Lati Twins. I started with Latias, and this fight finally put a stop to Groudon. She was immune to ground and resisted both fire and grass, so my best option was Ancient Power. The problem was that not only did she outspeed, and not only did she have Ice Beam for massive damage, but my attack was doing nothing to her. I tried using the combo of Rock Tomb to lower her speed and then Dragon Claw, but that didn't even get her to half HP. I tried Latios to see if it was the same situation, and yeah, he didn't even have Ice Beam. He only used Dragon Claw, and that was getting the 2-shot. It's 100% because they have the Soldo equipped, an item exclusive to them that boosts both of their special stats. I could try and go for something like a Choice Banded Return and hope that a crit would be enough, but I have a way funnier idea. I gave Groudon the moves Thunder Wave and Rock Slide from the Fire Red move tutor and Dynamic Punch from the Emerald move tutor. So here's the strategy for Latios. Use Thunder Wave to paralyze him, cutting his speed and giving me a 25% chance that he doesn't move, Dynamic Punch for the confusion, adding a 50% chance of hitting himself, and then Rock Slide, finishing off with a 30% chance of flinching. All of that makes it stupidly unlikely for Latios to hit me, and it ended up giving me the win on the first try. It's stupid, I know. It's infuriating for the person on the other side, I know. But it's funny, and it works, and that's what matters. Latias was a bit more difficult, as it took me 7 attempts for the strategy to work. With Dynamic Punch missing, Latias not getting fully paralyzed or hitting herself, or not getting any flinches. But in the end, after 6 restarts, it finally worked. meaning that Groudon defeated the last Pokemon in the game with the dumbest strategy ever. So, can Groudon beat all 202 Pokemon in Emerald with their competitive moveset? Yes, easily. I don't know if I would have been able to defeat the Lati twins without the Confusion Paraflinch strategy, but for the most part, it was a pretty chill run. There weren't that many roadblocks, and the ones that appeared either had an easy solution, or I was able to brute force through them with dumb luck. I didn't even need to use the Choice Band or Sword Stance, not even Rock Slide. But anyways, did I miss anything on the video? If you think so, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.